Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, proud to be the world's #1 community for brilliant childcare leaders. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Elif Childcare Insurance. Give Blake a call at 972-232-2258 to get a free quote on childcare business insurance today. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to episode 36 of the Childcare Genius podcast.
We are your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre. Before we begin, I want to talk a little bit today about our book, Advanced Childcare Business Strategies. It is a book that we wrote. It's the number sixth book that we've written. And it's all about different techniques to move your business forward. It's got advanced strategies for profitability, wealth creation, and expansion. And that is important in the business. I have everywhere from home childcare center owners to 25 childcare center, multi-center owners who read this book, who absolutely love it. So we want to get this in your hands free. Just go to childcaregenius.com/books, and you can order this book absolutely free. We'll even pay for shipping. We'll pick up that cost. Our goal is to get this in as many owners' hands as possible. So that would be our gift to you for listening to this podcast. So we're so excited to be interviewing a great friend of ours. Her name is Jennifer Vazquez, and this is part 2 of a 2-part interview.
And you will love this episode. Jennifer is such a great person.
I know, I love Jennifer. She's such a good friend. She recently sold her schools. We're going to talk with her about the sales process, but we want to really talk this episode about what she's doing now to help childcare center owners.
And Jennifer recently joined our team here at Childcare Genius, and we're excited to have her.
Yeah, she's an adjunct professor on our team. She's our EOS implementing specialist, and it's so great to have her on the Childcare Genius team. So welcome, Professor Jennifer, and let's get Jennifer on the line. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're so excited to have you back for part 2 of an amazing 2-part episode. We did a good episode last week. We talked a little bit about your schools. We spoke how you own 3 childcare centers in Miami and how you sold them. And actually, you never even listed them for sale. So you never had to pay like that big real estate commission. You never put them on the market. Somebody approached you, which worked out great. Probably saved quite a bit in commissions there. So I love that. So you've pivoted to a new business that helps childcare owners, and it's called EOS. Can you explain what EOS is and what you do for childcare center owners?
So EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's kind of like Adderall for entrepreneurs because it laser focuses on the company goals, but it's a set of simple, practical tools that manages human energy. And I applied it in my company, and it was truly a game changer. It changed my company. I operated my company in a very reactive basis, and I turned it around to operate my company in a proactive basis. And one of my company goals was that each director was the captain of their own ship. And through the EOS process, that actually happened, and the directors would run their centers like if it was their own. So EOS, to go a little bit more in depth about EOS, it's a process of strengthening 6 key components of your business. It's your vision, and it's documenting and putting out of your head and onto papers, what are your long-term goals? Where do you want to be 5 to 10 years from now? Where do you want to be? What are you going to look like in 3 years? What are your core values? What's your core focus? Who's your marketing? Who are you targeting your marketing dollars to, and what message are you saying? And then ultimately getting that big picture and breaking it down to what's your plan next year? now from your plan for the next year, what are you going to do this quarter to make sure you reach your goals for next year? And within those goals, it's revenues. You include revenues, you include profits, and those are the measurables. So it's running your business on hard data. And then from the yearly plan, the next 90 days, setting, goals for the next 90 days, reviewing the 90 days, see how you did the quarter, setting goals for the following quarters, and then having weekly meetings to make sure you're on target, to make sure your team is also on board with you. So that's one component, which is the vision component. And then you go into the right people, the people component, which is huge in our industry, because you need to make sure that you have the right people to help you achieve your vision. And you also have to know what your right seats are in the company. You can't be creating positions for people. Your company needs to have its positions that it needs. You need to structure your company accountability chart to fit the needs and your goals and to be in line with your goals within the next 6 to 12 months. What does it need to look like so that you achieve your goals the following year? But it's making sure that you know exactly what those roles are, what those seats are, but who are the right people, and is hiring the right people. And then there's a whole process for that. And then another component is the data component, which is, I kind of explained it a little bit, is running your company meetings on numbers. How many kids do you have to enroll on a weekly basis to achieve your goal? How many staff one-on-ones does your directors need to have with their staff to make sure your company culture, if that's what you're measuring, that you have good company culture and you reduce staff turnover? So it's what do you want from your company? If you lived on an island, what's the data that you need reported to you so that you know that your company is running well? And it's basically having consistent communication that helps you know exactly where you want to go, but your team too. Your team has accountability and they have a vision and a path, and they know exactly what they need to do to help you achieve your vision. And then there's the issues component, because we have a ton of issues, right? Every day, every business owner wrestles with so many issues at one time. And with this system, the issues pop out at you before they become issues, and you get really good at solving your issues with your team, all together with your team. And then from there, it's the idea thing. And then you get into the 90-day world that I talked about, to make sure that your vision is that every 90 days you're executing on your plans, your goals, your revenue goals, your net profit goals, your enrollment goals, whether you want to get an accreditation, that's a major goal. And to make sure that you're living in that 90-day world and everyone's rowing in that right direction, to make sure that your vision is getting executed. And when you have a system like that, it just becomes so much easier. You delegate more. And with that system, I was able to get my life back, because I went from working 16-hour days, sometimes even more. And that system not only helped me get my life back, it pulled me through COVID as well. So now I really enjoyed leading my team with EOS and my company with EOS. So now I do it full time, and I help other entrepreneurs and childcare owners do the same. As a matter of fact, this is a fun fact. A private equity company bought my centers, is one of the largest in the nation. And I still talk to them, the directors, I still have communication with them. And they're one of the few schools in the whole Southeast region, one of 4 companies in the whole Southeast region that is very profitable. They're at 100% FTE, and they still use the EOS. And the regional director tells me, girl, I'm going to still have those weekly meetings. We cannot and will not live without them.
Good for you. That's awesome. Bill?
So can you tell us a little bit more about setting goals with the EOS system?
So many business owners and even their staff, they don't know what the company long-term goals are. They just don't. it's kind of in the entrepreneur's head, and they're just working on a day-to-day basis. They want to increase enrollment, make more money, but there's no real plan for it. So the process of setting goals, I would basically every quarter I would take all my management, my leadership team, which was my directors and some other staff, and we would have an off day meeting with an agenda, and we would say, okay, what are we going to achieve this year? What is the plan for this year? What do we need to laser focus on to make sure that we achieve our financial goals, and to make sure that we're in line to making that company that we painted the picture, the 3-year picture, to making that a reality. So it doesn't come from me. It came from me along with my team. So we work together. When you work together with your leadership team, and they also have a say in and a buy-in, it's you give them buy-in, and they feel that they have ownership because they're part of that planning process. So we would set goals once a year, and then every quarter we would set from that yearly goal, what are we from this year, what are we going to focus on the next 3 months to make sure that we achieve the goals for the year. So we would meet quarterly. We would review last quarter. We would set the yearly, then we would set quarterly goals. The next meeting, the following quarter, we would review the previous quarters. Did we achieve everything? And if we didn't, why not? What were the issues? Let's solve them together. And then we will set new goals. But then the team always met the same day, same time, once a week, reviewing their numbers, to making sure that, the staff turnover was on point, the staffing percentage ratio, the income to expense ratio wasn't too high, because we all know that staffing can be very expensive. And if you don't keep a pulse on that, guess what? You're going to eat up all your profit. So we did that, as well as other things that we would measure, like the staff one-on-ones was very important, because having a good culture in our company was very important.
Love that. So Carol and I have used EOS a lot over the years. Our favorite part is the L10 with scorecard. Can you explain what L10 meeting is and why a scorecard is so important?
So the L10 meeting is called the Level 10 meeting. It's a very structured meeting. And the reason that they call it the L10 is because everybody that's part of the meeting rates the meeting at the end. And if everybody rates it a 10, it's a perfect meeting. That means that the meeting went very well. It's very structured. So a lot of issues get solved as a team. There's a lot of reporting. And then the scorecard are numbers. Remember when I mentioned living on the island, what information do you want reported to you? It's a document where you report numbers on a weekly basis to make sure that you're achieving those goals that you have set. And a scorecard is magical, because the directors we know that directors, they juggle 130 things every single day. And sometimes they can get deviated from the financial goals, from the enrollment goals. This document keeps them on point, measuring, and they know that they need to increase the FTE by 3% this week. They know they need to, there's some families that are in collection, and that amount needs to get reduced. So it's whatever it is that you want to work on in your business that's going to take your business to the next level. And you use measurables, which is data, hardcore data, on what you want to achieve that week to make sure you're in line to achieving your financial goals and your company quality goals. I know when it has to do with data and numbers, it could be a little bit complicated. So I hope I explained it very well.
Very good. Very good. Can you tell us what an accountability chart is and how a child care center would use one?
Very good question. That was another tool that was a major game changer for us. We had various management staff, various what I called my central office staff, that would provide support to all the centers. And sometimes things wouldn't get done. And I would ask one of my staff members, and, well, I didn't know I had to do that. Well, I didn't know I had to do that. I thought, someone else was doing it. So what the accountability chart is, it lists the major functions and roles in your company. the major seats. For example, every company has, sales and marketing. How are you going to market, to get more clients? Every company has operations. What's the process? Once you have a client, how are you going to provide them the service? And every company has financials, and HR. So who is responsible for what? And it's creating clarity as to who is in charge of those major functions. So in a team of a director and an assistant director, that could easily get confused as to who's doing what. So in our accountability chart, we had the director and the 5 to 7 major roles of the director, and then the assistant director as well. And it creates clarity as to who's responsible for what. We shared it throughout our whole entire organization, so everybody knew who was doing what, and it created accountability because now it became clear as to who was responsible for sending the newsletters, who was responsible for collecting the tuition, who was responsible for answering the phone, who was responsible for ordering supplies, for submitting the attendance with the government programs, food program, who was responsible for that. So it creates a lot of clarity and accountability. So it's kind of like, we don't call it the org chart because org chart only lists titles. That doesn't tell you much. A title doesn't tell you much, but the accountability chart tells you what the role is and what the major functions of that role is.
Very important to make sure you get the right people, right seat too. I love that. So
right. So those are the right seats. Now,
yes,
the right people are people that fit your culture and also get it, want it, and have the capacity to do the job.
Interesting. Boy, this has been great. And so if somebody wants to know more about EOS, how would they reach you?
Well, they can certainly email me or they can call me on the phone. I'm on the website as well, and I can provide you with that information.
So we will drop that information in our show notes. So look below. You will get Jennifer's contact information. Feel free to reach out. Highly, highly recommend EOS as a way to structure your business. Get the right people in the right seats. Have a lot more fun and have a lot less stress, right, Jennifer? That's the goal.
Well, not only less stress, but take your company to the next level.
Next level.
I talked to another implementer from Las Vegas today, and she's implementing in a company where when they started implementing EOS in the company, they had revenues of 22 million. It wasn't childcare, it was something else. 2 years later, they had revenue of $47 million. Wow. They doubled in 2 years. That's the power of EOS.
Nice.
Power. Yeah, I love EOS. That's awesome.
So now we have a mindset question for you. What do you do to
bring it
relax
on, baby,
and unwind?
So mindset is a tricky thing. Mindset, you got to work on it. At least I feel I need to work on it constantly. So I'm very health conscious. There's an app that I use called Insight Timer. It's a free app and it has like 10 to 15 minute meditation sessions. So I do that. I try to do it once a day, but I journal. I journal every day in the morning. What are 3 things that I'm grateful for? How am I going to make today awesome? And I journal at night as well. I write down how was today great, what was wonderful about today, and how is tomorrow going to be great and excellent as well, or my goals for tomorrow. That automatically gets you into the positive mindset. So sometimes I wake up and I'm not feeling so happy. And I'm like, as soon as I journal, there's scientific research and data how that really helps with the mindset. Exercising, eating right. Another thing that I do every morning and every night, I read my resolutions before going to bed. And I read my resolutions for the year when I wake up in the morning. I also read books. The Slight Edge is a great book. I'm always reading. There's so much that goes in the brain that only 12% of our facts, of our emotions, of our reactions and our thoughts are based on facts. The other 88% is made up by us and is not facts. There's research and data on that. So sometimes when I'm not having a good day, I'm like, oh, that's my 88% working. Let me shift my mindset and get me to a positive place.
Excellent advice for childcare owners that are either anxious or depressed. Anxious, you're worried about the future. Depressed, you're worried about the past. So in other words, you're trying to focus in on the now, what you're grateful for today, right now. If you focus on the now, it's hard to be anxious or depressed. You focus on now, it's much more easier to be grateful for what you have. So I love that, Jennifer. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely. And another tip that is useful, especially for the directors and the assistant directors, and sometimes the teachers, when they're feeling anxious or anxiety, take 3 minutes, do jumping jacks, push-ups, get very highly active, because it automatically reduces the anxiety and the stress. So it's a quick fix. And sometimes we need that.
And who cares who sees you on camera? Who cares? You're in a classroom. You could jump up and down, do crazy things. Another thing is breathing too. Couple deep breaths in and out tend to slows the heart rate down and relax. And you don't really have the importance of breathing. Deep breath in through the nose, long, slow breath out through the mouth will calm you down, will really help you with stress as well. Put you in a nice frame of mind. It releases dopamine in your body. You just feel better and better. Just breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing's
and those
important.
are things that's the thing that can be done that can be brought into the classroom with the children as well, is teaching them those techniques, the children.
And then the drive home. Drive home could be a nice decompressed time. It's hard to meditate and close your eyes when you're driving, so I don't recommend that. But you could change your breathing. It's hard to do jumping jacks when you're driving too. So, but you can watch your breathing and listen to something positive. Throw a positive podcast. Throw the Childcare Genius podcast in on your drive home, and you're gonna get home in a much better mood. Right? We guarantee.
Our drive
Absolutely.
home, we can't do very much.
You're gonna what?
We can't do very much on our drive home.
No, we
Because
work
you
from
don't
home.
drive much.
No, I have a 12-step commute. Carol's got about a 40-step commute to her office, and we reverse that going home. So she's got a longer walk home than I do. Mine's 12 steps to my bed. Hers is 40 steps to her bed when she leaves. So we got about 28 steps between us in our offices. So life is good.
That's fantastic.
Life is good. All right, Jennifer, we're going to let you go. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today to the Childcare Genius podcast. Thank you, Jennifer Vazquez, for joining us, and enjoy sunny, hot Miami. We're coming down to visit you. Get that spare bedroom ready. We're coming.
You got it. Thank you so much for
right.
having me.
See you guys. Bye-bye, Jennifer. I just love listening to her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's a cutie. And so if you're like Jennifer and would like us to coach you, we would be honored to do so. So just visit childcaregenius.com/university to sign up for a free coaching call with me. You're guaranteed to come away with 2 to 3 concrete things to improve your business. I just did a call last week with somebody, and she was on the West Coast, and she was struggling with her business financially. And she's a multi-center owner and having a hard time making ends meet. And she belongs to a coaching group, and they have these things where they put a bunch of people together and they coach in a group. And she's afraid to bring to her group the negative, like she's struggling financially, because I guess she's intimidated by her friends and not wanting them to know. And that's the problem with a group coaching where you're not doing one-on-one. So let me do a one-on-one coaching call with you, absolutely free. Let me help you in whatever area you're struggling with, whether it be financial, whether it be emotional, whether it be staffing. Let me dig in and find out what the problem is without any embarrassment whatsoever. We're not going to record the call. It'll be just you and me. Let me help you. Visit childcaregenius.com/university and let us help you turn your business around. Absolutely free. So this concludes episode 36 of the Childcare Genius podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your life to spend a little bit of time with us.
And just a reminder to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.